Well, the connection is super poor this afternoon. Okay, so for all of you who want an update on the homestead, last week I felt motivated enough to put on pants before doing the live stream, and today that is just not the case. I feel no motivation to attend to the social niceties that would involve regular clothes. So I'm in my pouting bathrobe. And I am still without a garden, still without a homestead. And for those of you who have been in that situation for more than 6 months, you have my sympathy. I think it's been we've been here since September, end of September, right?
Right.
So, for those of you who are curious, what has happened with the house, hey, Off-Grid Lifestyle, what has happened with the house is that now they cannot find the title to the house. Hey, Okie girl. Hello, Planet Farm. Hello, Julie. So they can't find the title to the house now, which means that they had to bring attorneys in on the seller's side. And we now have like an extended, they think they could probably have it figured out in 30 days. They have to find some kind of paperwork. And it looks like the house was actually a cash purchase that went onto land that was already owned, so they didn't, I guess, feel the need to have a title to it or something. And the problem with this, the reason there's frustration at the level that there is right now, what was that? John is in the kitchen cooking something and it sounds very squishy.
John cooks amazing food. You should tell everybody that.
Whatever you're doing, it sounds very squirty and squishy. And so the problem with that is that John has already been transferred to the new location, which means that he is now, instead of having miles paid for, he's now having a commute that's pretty long without miles being paid for. He is now in where he's going to be, which is the whole reason we were deciding that we wanted to purchase this property, was that it was the perfect location. And I have to go back to Idaho here pretty soon, and I really wanted to have the ponies established. I wanted to have a garden planted, and I wanted to set up some automatic watering systems so that John could take care of it while I was gone with very little effort. And if we aren't on the property in time for me to do all that before I go back to Idaho, then we're not going to have a garden this year, which just bothers me. Yes, John loves to cook, but he likes to cook some really interesting things, and I'm worried about what the sound of whatever it is that he just put on there.
In every way.
Was it ketchup? Was it mustard? It sounded like ketchup or mustard. And the connection keeps trying to trip out on me. That's pretty much where we are. And for anybody who's ever shopped for a home or shopped for a homestead or had a job, don't worry, honey, I'll just wait.
Okay. Well, you told me to get going on this, so okay. Okay, ready? Going.
Okay.
You're good.
Thanks. So the homestead thing, I feel like the reason I'm frustrated about it is because with your seasons, you have the
because she is not a marathon
frustration.
Difficulty type person.
I'm a sprinter. I'm like, okay, let's work really, really hard and fix all these problems and be done and move on.
And if it's not done in 2 weeks, yeah, it's the end of the world. And it's okay.
Well, how many different things am I trying to actually balance in this? It's not just one thing I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be like stay-at-home wife, taking care of homeschooling.
Correct.
Instead, I'm trying to keep the channel going. I've got our property in Idaho to go take care of, and I've got a new garden to set up and everything in a new state. I've got right now I'm fighting with permits in Oklahoma.
Guess what?
Fighting with children.
And so I've just got so many things I'm trying to do right now that all hinge on the next 6 weeks. What's going to happen in the next 6 weeks? Oh, you're here because I'm not wearing pants. I am not wearing pants.
Thanks, Catherine.
But in lieu of pants, I did put on some makeup.
I'm here because she's not wearing pants.
Yeah, exactly. So's Paige. All right. And let's see. Fun stream today and always. Thanks, Off-Grid Lifestyle. Okay. So Jan has asked, hi, can you look where he will be working? So we already did, knowing that they wanted to transfer him out there. That's why we had found this particular homestead. And this has been 2 months now since we found it. So we found the homestead 2 months ago, made the offer on it, and now we're at 6 weeks since we actually put money down on it, since we actually put our earnest money in, which means that this was the house we had found that was in the right area for his work. It would work well for our family too, and it was a really good price. And I don't know, I would assume that we were the first ones to ask and try to purchase the home because it was a really good price.
It was built from a giant land estate, and these people had, I guess, money or enough resources that they could just pay cash for a house.
Yeah.
To put fresh on this land that they'd already owned for generations. So this is the first time that everything needs to trade hands. And so this is the pains and difficulties and lawyerisms that go through this. So this is not going to happen again when we turn around and sell it.
So Gwen is asking, could you rent until the sale goes through? So we're currently renting right now. The issue is, and that in itself is not an issue. We still have the apartment we're in. The issue is that I don't have a whole lot to film here that is interesting and worth watching. And it just means that the channel is going to be kind of slack and stagnant, and it's taken a lot of years to build it up, only to now have nothing to film. And but even more than that is my sanity. The reason, I was talking to Doug over at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy about this last week. If you haven't checked out their channel, go check them out. I was talking to Doug about it, and he's like, well, there's a reason you called your channel Dirtpatcheaven, is because my sense of well-being is very much grounded, no pun intended. My sense of well-being is grounded in having dirt and being outside and breathing the air outside, not the air inside. My sense of well-being is very much dependent on me being an outside person. And there's only so many walks I can take at the park before I just kind of lose it, because I want it to be, I want to be planting something. I want to be milking a goat. I want to be taking care of the chickens. I want to be watering the garden. I want to be doing those things that enrich my family's table, but also enrich my life, my capacity to move and be in good shape. All of those things. I really struggle with that in an apartment. And Gwen asked, I mean the house you're trying to buy. We asked. Our realtor got the paperwork all together and submitted it to them and said, can they lease the house while we're finishing all this up? And they came back and said no. I guess they want it to just be really clean cut, and they don't want to work with any more paperwork than they absolutely have to. They don't need money. This particular family, it's a family trust. And with that family trust, man, this home, and he had multiple properties, investment properties, but this was his home, and it was years before he passed away, but he'd still had this one. He is not in need of the money, and I don't think they really want to deal with things, but they
don't want, and the only motivation for selling it is that they don't want something that fall apart from neglect and start junking up their this place that is their property.
Is that what they said?
Yeah. So if they
Oh, I thought Larry said it was just because they didn't want
nobody
that
wants
they
the
were
house.
worn out.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what you mean. I thought you meant why they didn't want to rent it to us.
Right. Well.
He said they didn't want to rent it to us because they're just kind of fatigued by the whole process and they feel like it would overcomplicate
Yeah, right.
things.
It's kind of turned into a giant cluster.
Yeah. So Homesteading the Pioneer Way is here. Hello, hello. Here. Hello, I try to do it outside. I try to do it upstairs. For that. Hi, Angela Trillo. So we have the bikes, and we are going for walks because we live across from a really nice park, and that kind of keeps us our head above water a little bit. Yeah.
Has it been 15 minutes?
Let me look. I don't think it's quite been 15 minutes. So I've gotten to a point where I'm no longer doing homestead art. I don't really want to dream too much about the property because our realtor thinks that we should definitely be in another 30 days.
But only another month.
Only another month, but in that point I'll be in Idaho. And so it really complicates things for me to try and do anything with the horses. It really complicates anything with trying to get chickens or anything else if I'm trying to do it from Idaho. So if it gets that bad, I wish my darn connection was better. Why does it say it's so bad? I don't understand. Nope, it's just as bad upstairs. It was last time anyway.
Because Verizon just did that.
Lee Ebler said prayers. Homesteading Ways said not liking trying to homestead an apartment either. Well, and it's a pretty high-end apartment as far as the location. If we knew we were going to be here another year, all the doors, opening and closing the doors, everything over on this side is very well kept and kind of ritzy. If we were on the other side of the apartment, I could probably ask them if I could put some planters out in a parking space, because we're allowed 2 parking spaces, I believe, and we only have 1 car. So I could probably put some pots in a parking space if we were on the other side. But we actually face the main road here, and they want to keep the facade, the appearance of the apartment up really well, which I don't blame them for that. Hey,
Goats
Shannon.
are not conducive to a high-end apartment complex.
Well, I don't know if I would necessarily be that upset about short-term being without goats. I've already been without goats for a long time, but not to even be able to have a garden bed is a little tricky.
No, I agree. What I'm saying is they would frown upon us keeping a goat here.
Well, and we've got a pack of children that wanders through these apartments at full speed. And the other day, Paige and Kai are so into just seeing dirt as this fun thing to play with.
Sorry guys, gotta beat the
Yeah, you're making a lot of noise.
Sorry.
Could you stop, please? I'm gonna let you do the live stream if you don't stop interrupting me.
Well, no,
I'll just hand the phone over.
That shirt that says that marriage is finding that one special person that you love to annoy the rest of your life.
Yeah, you're wonderful. Thank you so much.
Love you.
All right, so so what happened is that the rain kind of dug a little bit of a pit in the lawn back here. And so the girls went and enlarged the pit and tried to plant some things in it. And
made terracotta.
so the girls keep trying to farm girl here in an apartment, and they don't understand that people prefer grass. Honey, why don't you just go outside and play? And just stay out for a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry that everybody is really noisy during live streams. So we've been doing a lot of woolworking. The girls have been doing a lot of school. And Mom just sinks deeper and deeper into the pit of desolation and non-gardening. And Jan says, are there any community or university plots where you could go garden? Not near us, no. I have looked into it. I have asked up and down. We have friends that are about half an hour from us that have offered to let me garden there. But we chose to have no debt and 1 vehicle. And I'm because it means that the girls get their school done every day when they should be doing school. We had to be very regimented with our time so that when we do have a vehicle, we can do what we need to do. But the community gardens are all a very long, extensive drive from here. and none of them are close enough to get to on bikes. So we would prefer to live where we are and have one car and the community that we're in rather than being close to a community garden. And my fault, I assumed that when John sent the link for this apartment that it would somewhere there would be a community garden close, but it's just not the case. There is not one close. And friends have offered to let us garden, but it doesn't make any sense to me to drive half an hour to go garden. I need to find a solution close to home. It just is what makes sense.
So your offer is appreciated, friends, but it's just not doable.
Yes, we have kind friends who've offered, and it just doesn't work. I homeschool. I can't take that much time out of my day to go garden and spend the gas and have to prepare the meals to get there because we're not eating out. It just is too complicated. The little white house said that has to be killing you guys. I don't think it bothers John. You don't care about gardening, do you?
No, but I want to be at this property for much different reasons.
Yeah, John
Equally
wants
one.
John wants the new homestead because it is very remote. There's no people. We're surrounded by bare land with just one neighbor, and it's a very close commute to his new work spot. He's working for the same company. They just moved him to this other place where they need him more now that he has a little more experience. And so it isn't like he went and got a new job. He was somewhat promoted sideways.
Yeah, well, this was the logical step up from where things are going.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, and it means we were several steps ahead planning through it. We planned through it just fine, and now we don't have a title for the house.
And it will come.
See you, Planet Farm.
But it won't come soon enough. Is that what you're saying?
If it happened 2 months ago, and we could have just
Lord,
stepped
give
into
me
it.
patience and give it to me now.
Yes, Lord, give me
Yes.
patience and give it to me now. So I'm trying to be very, very purposeful and mindful about going out and spending more time out at the horses and the rabbits rather than just taking a couple minutes to do chores.
But you can probably hear it in her voice.
You can probably hear it in my voice. I went for a very long walk this morning just because I needed to breathe some non-apartment air. Turid is here, and the Melly Mocha Space said, have you asked the management to start a community garden there? Sometimes apartments really enjoy having that for their patrons. They have zero space. And there is an empty lot across the street from us, but it's owned by another property. And there's a lot of homeless people that go over there a lot. There's a lot of homeless people right in our area. And they can be a little bit destructive. We've had homeless people come and destroy garbage spaces and
random things.
Random things,
and you can't quite figure out exactly what they're doing.
What were they thinking? Why? And so I could call up the company that has the empty lot across the street from us and ask them if I could set up a garden, and I could probably put a few things out, and I'm 75% sure that when I came out the next day it would be destroyed because they've got kids, teenagers, groups of teenagers, don't want to call them gangs, but they're kind of gangs that kind of wander around breaking things and stealing things. Paige's bike my bike actually was stolen. Paige's bike, they attempted to steal it while she was still playing with it last week. And so where there's no fence up or anything around the empty lot, I have a hard time wanting to take anything over and set it up. For one thing, even if they didn't destroy it, they might pee on it or something. People do that kind of thing.
Right.
They would go over and like desecrate it in some way that would make me feel like I couldn't feed it to my family. So we're just not in a very garden-friendly spot. Andrew Craner said, I really respect your choice to be debt-free. I know it's hard sometimes, but it's so worth it. Well, and I think it makes me live more purposefully. It definitely makes me a better homeschool mom, again, because I have to organize things in my brain. We have a very set amount of time to do school in a day. It's the only thing we have to do, so we might as well do a good job at it. And the girls' school has really, really gone well since we've done that.
So see, there's silver linings to this very dark cloud.
Oh, I'm not a dark cloud. I just am a
No.
gardenless cloud.
This dark.
I just want a garden.
This dark cloud hanging
I am
over
not a
us.
dark-
Not you.
Make me sound like a dark cloud, and I'm not a dark cloud. I'm happy for so many things. For one thing, the girls have this little group of friends in the apartments that is amazing. They have so much fun together, and they're wild Indians about everything that they do.
And they're good kids.
And they're all really good kids.
I just deadbolted that door.
Uh-huh. And I'm the mom where when the kids are home, all the neighborhood kids come through the house, and they are welcome to be in the house, and we don't let the girls go and be in other people's homes because parents aren't home. Weird. What is she taking that out for? She just came in and got a wrench. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, I wonder if the hammer made it back to where it was supposed to be.
I don't know. And so it's really kind of fun to be like the little apartment mom where all the other kids who don't have parents home come in and they play board games, and there's no video games, and they're not allowed to look at each other's phones or devices. That is not allowed. And any inappropriate behavior, and the kids don't get to play for a bit, either from my kids or from their kids. And so we, it works out really well, and we really enjoy it. I will miss that when we're not here, if we ever leave here, that is. All right, let's see. And Off Grid Lifestyle said, you're going to one neighbor. Wow. Yeah, there's only one neighbor out at the new homestead. If we get the homestead, just one. And that will be interesting. Luann Hoffman said, what I am finding out is the new homeless are drug addicts. That can be quite true out here, yes. And we've also had some homeless people who've actually helped us when I was trying to get acclimated to living in the city. And so I have
Appreciation.
benefited from their kindness at times, that many times they really so appreciate somebody looking them in the eye and saying good morning, and me saying, I need help. Can you help me?
Yeah, this city really has changed our perspective on
I didn't really have any perspective on homeless because in Idaho we don't have homeless,
They'd freeze
at
to
least
death.
not on the streets,
They'd freeze to
because
death in July.
they would freeze to death a significant part of the year if they slept outside. So we do have homeless people, but they don't actually live on the streets.
What are you taking apart, dear?
Just a bike is what it looked like.
I was putting Monty's training wheel back in its right place.
Okay.
And I was
So-
cleaning up his tires.
Okay, so Jan Dawson said, are you still looking for other properties while you wait through this as a backup? Yes, but not really seriously. We've already paid for all of our inspections. We have a chunk of money in this house at this point because of the inspections. And as we look at these other places, again, I'm heading to Idaho here in a few weeks. And so we don't know if we should just wait and let this one completely fall through, or have our realtor take us out to other houses. We kind of sunk all the money that we wanted to sink into inspections, and even though we still have obviously the down payment for the house itself, we still have that. Everything else that we've seen has kind of been the same situation. It's been a manufactured home with less acreage than this one, or it's a stick-built home that is small. And I was starting to dream just a little bit about having a kitchen that was big enough to can in. And so it's hard to kind of jump from the certainty of this one that should have gone through and then changing it up and looking for something else. Because for one thing, our landlord was being really good about letting us out of our lease early here because John's work was moving, but now we're going to be out at least 2 weeks past the date that we had originally told her, at least. And so our landlord is also getting a little bit frustrated at the fact that we can't give her a definite date. Did you need me to come turn it to where it needs to be? It just sounds like it's not seated right.
It is the sound of the pressure not being up yet and popping the button.
Okay. So we are looking, but we really would rather not waste all of this you have it seated? Homesteading the Pioneer Way. And if we had been looking for something different when we got here and we were getting a rental, we could have put it we were at last year. The rats, batteries low. We have rats, ducks, chickens, some nice raised beds, and there were also bees in the wall of the house in front of us. So some because we knew the landlord and he knew what it was we wanted to do there. Coming here this year, we really wanted to I've got to plug this in. Oh my goodness. We really wanted to, and we wanted to be able to bike, and I really did want to test out the whole apartment thing and see just how bad was it going to be. How
That's why I ready to say that. We wanted to experiment, see how bad it really would be.
how much could I grow if all I had was an apartment? How much could I grow? And so now I know. 6 months in, if I had just even a very small spot, I could grow a lot. But it's really tricky in an apartment. All right.
20 minutes and counting.
That thing is so noisy. If you want to go run the water now, I think it's right.
I did.
All right, the Garden Channel said, have you thought about using Curtis Stone's method, renting lawns for garden space but paying in produce? So we do have property out at the horses that we can use, but it is a little bit expensive to get that sort of system set up. And you have to know that you're going to be there for a bit, at least one growing season. And what happened is that we had all that set up and ready to go in the paddock that the ponies were in. We had permission to do all that. And then we had to move the ponies to a different, bigger paddock. And so my compost pile had to go out onto the all the way around. The ground was too boggy to spot. And this new spot that has bigger pasture for the ponies doesn't have room for a garden. And that's kind of the complication of trying to rent property from in like a backyard type of a situation. They can tell you that you need to change things, and then any money that you've put into it, any work you've put into it, just rental be able to garden a little bit bigger. We're not along the same lines of what the landlord wanted, and so I had to go back to Idaho earlier than what I had to because I had run out of what's the word of
Fodder?
Not fodder so much as just I'd reached the end of what I could do on that property with the parameters that the landlord wanted. And I had to go back to Idaho anyway, and so it wasn't that it forced me to go to Idaho, it just made me go a little bit earlier than I had planned on. And that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in here now, is that it's not that I am not willing to put a garden in there at the ponies, it's that I don't want to put the money and the time into it and then find out that now we finally got the property and now I get to leave the garden at the ponies too. So the best option is probably for me to set up some of those big self-watering garden containers and plant everything into something that's mobile.
Don't mind me.
It's okay. You're just really loud.
Slightly distracting.
All right. Off-Grid Lifestyle said, you're a happy white cloud. I just wish I was covered in dirt and hay seeds. Can I just say that the best ending to a day is being covered in healthy sweats and having worked your butt off all day and have something to show for it. Jack Wolf said, how much land is at the new homestead? It is 5 acres. It has a barn and an enclosed wood shop behind the barn, all in one building with a concrete floor and everything. It has a pond, and it has, it's just a really nice little property. The road is nice. The drainage on the land is good, so that the ponies' feet aren't staying wet, so that I can plant more variety. Is that I can plant things that like to stay soggy. Off-grid lifestyle said the video has a door in a kitchen with an island on it. Your smile was contagious. LOL. Was it the gray one?
Had the fireplace.
Oh, reconnecting. So sad. This is such a bad connection. I don't know what. I don't remember which one that was. The one with the sliding door and the really nice sunroom. That one was 100,000. Well, let's see, 70,000 more than this particular. 70,000 more. The Little White House said things will work out for you soon. Have a good evening. Thanks, Little White House. Couldn't you grow in pots at the ponies? I could, and it's probably what I will do. Right now, we still have some frost in the weather. So here, I think April 15th is the last frost date. And put the plastic back down, water it really good. I'll probably put some self-watering containers out. More consistent, and we're not having frost at night. So after the 15th, do that. And we have quite there for sure. The life is like an endurance test. When you can't be in the garden. Yes, it is, and it's probably really good. I do have major correction trying. I just want it done now, and so this is definitely a very good exercise in patience for me. But I do just Northern Roots Farm said with the hint of horse smell is a good. That's probably what people think when they meet me is, she smells a little bit. Lou Ann Hoffman said, interesting. I've been thinking how I could have a mobile garden because I'm buying I own. Yeah, and Arms Family Homestead, they did a video this morning about some really good looking, look like they're less expensive. A lot of them. Turn the camera. So we went and buckets from, you're going to have to come stand behind me so I can hit it right. And inside of it are green bean plants that the girls planted and that we just planted today. And so, yep, that needs to go over by the light so that it has some light.
Quiet. That's the fun part is, they're leaving us alone. Crap, what are they getting into? What's wrong?
Yeah, something like that. That's how my mom gardens is she only gardens in self-watering containers, even though she has land and she's had big gardens. That's how she chooses to garden now. I said my last Friday is also April 15th. We're being teased with 50s overnight right now. I think we're actually in like the 60s. Are we in the 60s at night? It's warm. It's warm tonight. Jan Dawson said, are you in southern Idaho or northern when you go? We are in southeastern Idaho. It is Snake River Valley. And that's where our original homestead is. And I have to go back and set up watering systems for the renters. And my little niece is graduating, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to get my sun oven and my other spinning. and my drum carder. I'll have a property by then. I probably won't bring anything but the sun oven back if we don't have property yet, because there's just not room for anything else in this apartment. We love the apartment. It's nice and it's a bigger space than what we were used to before, but it is not cramped, but there's just not room for a whole lot more. All right, thanks Garden Channel. Thanks for popping in. Okay, I'm gonna go because I don't really have anything else to talk about after getting too warm. It is warm. So make sure to check in. I probably will not have a video up tomorrow. Again, with the waiting on the house, I just don't have anything new to show, and I'd rather not film something that is kind of pointless.
They're alive.
Well, that's good.
All right, I'll be right.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say before I pop off?
It's a good week. It'll be a good time. We're okay. So.
Mom's just losing her sanity.
Right. Nothing big.
You know what happens if you have a green thumb and you don't get to exercise it?
Is it turn brown?
No, it starts to it's like an ingrown hair or an ingrown work on the side of you, and your brain starts to turn into like this massive vines, and all you can think about is gardening. And you need to stay off of Instagram and not look at anybody else's gardening videos and nobody else's gardening pictures, because it makes you crazy. Crazy.
Interesting.
So
I had never saw that in you. I don't know what you're
you
talking
have
about.
seen that in me. What are you talking about? Are you kidding?
So. Let's see.
So yep, I'm gonna go look at somebody else's garden pictures and just make myself a little bit more nuts.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.